welcome back to my channel. It's a very exciting plan with me. We are not only starting a new month and a new week, but we're starting a new quarter and we're halfway through 2020. I like to take the opportunity to check in once you're halfway through the year. Check in on what you kind of committed to in January. Remind yourself of your goals. Revisit what you're working on so that you can really use the next 6 months to the best of your ability. I know that the first 6 months of this year have not gone how anyone has planned them, which makes it even more important to stop and check in and do your best to readjust and realign to what is happening in your life in the next 6 months. Today I'm going to be taking you through, this is my new planner. It starts July 1st and I'm so excited about it. I have a whole video on how I set up the planner. I will link that up in the card below, as well as some of the other planning videos that I've done about planning for a new quarter and planning for a new month. I am going to essentially take you through the whole process that I'm using to do a mid-year review. So to look at where I've been, what I set out to do in January, and where I plan to go for the next quarter. If I had to pick the thing that has made the biggest difference between me actually achieving my goals and just setting goals, it's breaking them down into quarterly goals, setting a plan out for the next 3 months of my life. And so I hope to really illustrate that for you and take you through that planning process. If you love videos about planners and planning, this is a great channel for you to subscribe to. I would love to have this channel at 1,000 subscribers before we end 2020. So please consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm going to take you into my process now. Thank you so much for watching. So here's all the stuff that I have with me to plan. I have my current planner that ends June 30th. I have my new planner, which starts July 1st. I will link below, up in the card to the video that I recorded all about setting up this planner. That was my most recent video, so I'll go ahead and link that up ahead if you want to see that. I also have the Artist of Life workbook. This is a product from YouTuber Lavender. It's essentially a goal setting and goal tracking journal dedicated to the every year. So this is my 2020 version. I will be doing a full review of this for my channel so that you guys can buy one for 2021 if you'd like to. But I will link it below. This is kind of how I track my goals on an annual, quarterly basis. And then I have been using this notebook to plan out my months and quarters. So this is kind of my scratch notebook that I use to kind of break down what I'm doing every quarter and every month into weekly chunks. So these are the supplies, plus, my obvious like pens, pencils, etc., markers that I will be using. So that is everything that I've got. Where I am going to start is the Artist of Life workbook. This is sort of my way to begin by reviewing where we are and what we'd like to do in the next quarter. So this is the first task I'll be taking on, which is to do a half-year review. So I am going to kind of read off the questions that are in this workbook so that you can follow along or do something similar. Let's celebrate the wins I am proud of. How did I do on my Q2 focus and goals? Does this year feel aligned to my 2020 theme so far? What can I do to live my theme more fully? Did I do the scary thing from page 33? If not, when will I? Review my goals in the 2020 goals section. Which area needs the most work and how will I give it more attention? What do I want to give myself for the second half of 2020? And then the next page just goes into Q3. So I'm going to take some time and complete this as the first part of my mid-year planning session. Okay, so now I've answered those questions in my Artist of Life workbook. Now I'm going back into my notebook and gonna go ahead and look through this list. This just has a little bit more detail than this. This is a little bit more like journal style, and this is a little more productivity style. So I'm going to now look through this and see anything else that needs to either be moved to the next quarter or things I can check off the list. And while I do this, I've started a page for Q3. And what I'm going to be doing is moving anything from here over to here that needs to still get done or something I still want to work on. I do have a printable, a quarterly planning printable, which I will link in the description below. It's totally free. You don't even need to give me an email address or anything. It's just a Google link. So check that quarterly planning printable down below so that you can plan along with me for Q3. Okay, so now I have everything kind of transferred over from my other quarter into here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take July, August, and September and look through my planner and see what special occasions or celebrations or things that are happening in the next quarter. And I'm going to write those into each month because there might be to-dos associated with them. Okay, so now that I did that, I'm going to go back into my Artist of Life workbook, and this is sort of setting goals and projects for Q3. So everything that I've done so far has basically been things that are transferring over from last quarter. Now it's time to sort of dream and vision set and look ahead towards this next 3 months and the things that I want to work on and want to happen in the next 3 months, and then break those down into smaller pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. This part is sort of where the magic happens, right? Because not only do we want to not lose track of the things we wanted to do before, but a lot of planning is looking forward, looking ahead, asking yourself, what is going to take me to the next level or take my life to the next level? And making sure that you set that out and break that down so you can actually make it happen. So let me give you a little bit of an example on how breaking down this stuff helps you achieve your goals. So for example, in my third quarter, I wrote, I want to save for Scotland. We're going to Scotland in 2021, and so we're saving money so we can go on this trip. Just saying that isn't enough to break it down to actually make it happen. So in here, I actually wrote, save $3,500 so we can buy plane tickets. That's about how much we believe our tickets will be based on the research that we've done. So I need $3,500 to buy that. I have already been saving for our trip. I need about $1,800 more to buy those plane tickets. So $1,800 is what needs to be saved in the third quarter. And so then I just did the very simple math on that. And I want to save $600 every month towards those plane tickets so that by the time September is done, I can go ahead and purchase our tickets and achieve that goal. That is an example of how planning your goals and sort of breaking them down into pieces helps make them more manageable and achievable for you. So now that I've broken down everything for my third quarter, it's time to break it down even smaller and start with July. So after I brainstormed everything that I wanted to do in the third quarter, I took all of these things and assigned them to a month. So now we're heading into July, so I need to take July's items and get those organized. I hope you see how the process of starting big and working your way down. So, annual goals to quarterly goals to monthly goals and then into weekly goals is really that inverted pyramid that helps take you from the big vision to the little tiny things that actually makes that vision happen. I know this sounds like it's a huge process, and it certainly is a time commitment, but once you do the planning session, all the rest of the pieces are in work. And so you only need to do tiny little check-ins each week. But setting the time aside to do this whole vision casting is really what sets the stage for those things to be possible to be accomplished. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to set out what we'd like to get done in July. So here is how I am going to set up my plan for the month of July. I've broken down all of my to-dos into kind of sections according to what they are, how I work on them. And then July is one of the months this year that has 5 weeks in it. So then I put a grid down here at the bottom, each for one of the weeks in the month. And once I have my list of everything, I am going to take those things and assign them to a week to work on them and to get done. Again, this is all about breaking things into smaller pieces. Is my planning always perfect? No. Is my productivity always perfect? No, of course not. No one's is. But when you plan for success, even if you fall a little bit short, you still made sure that you have the plans in place to make progress. Progress, not perfection, is always what's important when it comes to productivity. So breaking things down into smaller pieces is how you track whether or not you're really making traction. Okay, guys, so that is a look at how I did my mid-year review. I took some time to answer some questions about the past 6 months. I set out my intentions for the next quarter, and then I broke those down into goals for July and broke those July goals down into weekly goals. I have some other videos for you on monthly planning, quarterly planning, and I am going to link those up in the cards here and here so that you can go and watch in more detail how I plan for the quarter or the month. I am so excited to be turning the corner into the second half of 2020. Very excited to be using my new planner. And thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you feel inspired to take some time and plan out what you want to accomplish in the third quarter of 2020.